Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the kickoff meeting of the second year of the WEC MED initiative. For those who don't know me, I'm Paolo Storti, and I oversee the international activities of WEC Italy. And it's my pleasure to open this session today with a lot of good friends. I can see a lot of you in joining this meeting. Let me begin by briefly revisiting the origins of the initiative that was born from a shared vision to enhance cooperation across Mediterranean region. That is a crossroad of continents with highly diverse energy systems, but deeply interconnected on economic, social, and geopolitical aspects. This initiative, coordinated by us, by the Italian National Chapter of World Energy Council, was co-developed with the WEC General Secretariat, WMEC, and the Mediterranean National Committees active in the region, embodies the World Energy Council commitment to foster energy transition. To this end, I want to express my gratitude to all of you for your support and vision which made this initiative a reality. The first year of our work.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
There's a bad background, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I understand. Sorry for that. Just a second. Yeah, sorry. Now maybe it's better. So just to continue my brief introduction, the first year of our work culminated in the creation and the presentation of the WEC MED energy transition checklist. During the Rotterdam Congress, the document identifies key processes and topics that are at the center of the Mediterranean energy landscape. And the checklist earned us the Championship Strategic Communication Award by the the World Energy Council during the Congress. These milestones underscores the collective efforts of all partners involved, and I would like to take this moment to thank every individuals and organization who contribute. As we embark on the second year of our initiative, our focus shifts on deepening the thematic discussion introduced last year, as highlighted in our 2025 working program. Includes strategic sessions, workshops, and collaborative deep dives on pivotal topics such as energy security, digitalization, technology roadmaps, and socioeconomic acceptability for energy transition. We aim to refine these areas through structured thematic workshop, ensuring that our outcomes are impactful and relevant across the region. This year's outcome, including the vertical deep dives, will be compiled into a 2.0 version of the transition checklist, which will be presenting in the second half of the year during a public international event focused on Mediterranean area that we will organize together within the initiative. Today's agenda will set the tone of this year. After my introduction, we will hear from key contributors who will offer insight on some critical themes. We will start with key contribution from WEC, with updates of the activities of the Secretariat, including the Energy Trilemma report, and from WMEC, which will share its comprehensive view on the region, together with insight from the new edition of the Mediterranean Energy Perspective. These inputs will provide a strong contextual foundation for our discussion and further strengthen our collaborative approach. Some deep dive then, some proposal will later be presented by expert contributors, to whom we extend our special thanks for helping us shape the debates and in particular Sandro Furlan will present the transition checklist and the importance of setting clear goals. Valeria Palmisano will address energy security and the diversification of sources. Igor Margeri will discuss technology neutrality and roadmaps. And Niccolò Sartori, let's say a new entrance within the group of energy expert contributor, will explore the role of education and skill development in driving energy transition. After this expert intervention, we will open the floor for the debate. This will be a key moment for hear your thoughts, refine our focus, and identify new opportunities for collaboration. I don't want to take much more time. I stop here, thanking you again for your participation and commitment to the initiative. I look forward to your insight and contribution, which are essential to make the Mediterranean region leader in the global energy transition. And please, Masha, the floor is yours for the introduction from WEC, Masha and Michelangelo. Thank you.
Thank you, Paola, and thank you all for joining this important cross-regional dialogue that indeed we started last year, a bit before that even. I think the tangible results this dialogue delivers clearly shows the benefits of collaboration among our countries, countries of the region. It's great to see that the dialogue extends, and now we have new markets, new companies of the region contributing their voices to the common goal. The work we're undertaking is vital in generating and sharing results, best practices, insights, and technical know-hows. It also, I believe, plays quite an important role in advancing a humanizing energy agenda across the Mediterranean region, and how, among other challenges that we're addressing, how we can address how we can decarbonize consumption. Last year, in our work using Trilemma framework, together we developed the Mediterranean Energy Transition Checklist that Paola was mentioning, a critical milestone of this region energy journey. And building on this foundation, we aim to deepen this work in the year ahead, which means that by applying Trilemma perspective for policy pathfinding, we will evaluate existing and propose policies to assess their potential impact on the framework's pillars, so energy security, energy equity, and environmental sustainability. Surely there are quantitative assessments, but going beyond those, we will analyze these policies to better understand their interconnected effect and identify which gaps there still are. This analysis will help us engage decision makers more effectively, actually foster shared understanding of challenges and empowering them to make a better informed decisions. As you know, in addition to that, we've launched a program focused on developing detailed country profiles. Several countries of the region are already actively participating, and these profiles will facilitate cross-learning for all countries of Mediterranean region. And lastly, as we move forward, I would like to remind you that the evolution of Trilemma framework begins this year. We're looking for nomination of experts to contribute to this vital initiative. And it's essential to ensure a strong representation from this very region. So I encourage you to share your recommendations on experts or just step ahead yourself. And with this, I would like to again thank everyone here on this call and look forward to a productive dialogue ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Masha.
I believe.
Thank you, Masha. I don't know if Michelangelo. would like to add something? Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Masha. Thank you, Paolo. Just a couple of words. First of all, I still have 2 days to wish everyone a happy new year. I consider January a whole pass for that, and to thank you all again for your great engagement and contributions throughout 2024. It was a brilliant year, despite all the difficulties again that we have been facing in the past few years as a community. But the output and the outcome of the work, the collective work that has been done through this initiative and under the leadership of the Italian member committee, for which we also are very grateful, led to that award that was received for the initiative at the Congress in Rotterdam for championing strategic communities. This award came as a result of the alignment of the work of this initiative with the vision, the mission of the Council, and for the inclusion of all these entities and countries from the Mediterranean and from the community in the collective work that has resulted in the output, which was the checklist. Very grateful again, very thankful for all the work that has been done. Very much looking forward to what's coming this year, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing more about the deep dives that are projected within the work program for 2025. I'm also looking forward to seeing how we will continue this alignment with the output of the Council, with the strategic priorities of the World Energy Council as well. We have the issues monitor coming out soon. We have regional workshops to align that regional thinking and understand what the issues monitor output is for each of those regions in February, and the release as well of the country profiles for the trilemma. And as Masha mentioned, it's the year in which we start working on trilemma 2.2, the revamp, and I think the work of this initiative will contribute greatly, and the experts present on this panel as well will be of great contribution to that work. A final word on further inclusion. I will say we have been striving, and we will continue to include more countries from the Mediterranean, better representation from the southern Mediterranean countries, eastern Mediterranean countries. We have a few colleagues here from those countries, but we want to see more participation, more inclusion, and making this initiative truly Mediterranean. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paolo.
Thank you, Miguel Angel. Yes, of course, the reports, the instruments that the Council put on the table will be very precious for the development of the dialogue, starting from trilemma and issues monitor. So I agree with you that also the improvement and enlargement of the participation will be also crucial. So the other pillar, the other very important partner of the initiative is WEC, as I was saying before. So please, Matteo.
Yeah, thank you, Paolo. Good morning, and happy New Year to everyone, and welcome to this important kickoff meeting for the WEC MED, the Cross-Regional Collaboration Initiative. I'm representing WEC today, the Mediterranean Organization for Energy and Climate. And we are very pleased to be here again today to join forces with WEC Italy and other key stakeholders in this important initiative. As many of you know, WEC has long served as a leading observatory for energy issues across the Mediterranean region. And we are deeply committed to fostering sustainable energy development and promoting regional cooperation in this critical sector and critical momentum. Today, we are happy to reaffirm our strong support to the WEC MED Cross-Regional Collaboration Initiative. We believe This initiative holds immense potential to make significant strides in addressing the complex energy challenges and opportunities facing our region. WEC is particularly keen to contribute to this effort by providing insights and up-to-date information drawn from our extensive research and analysis. Our flagship publication, the Mediterranean Energy Perspective, the MEP, will be a key resource for this initiative. Within the MEP, we offers in-depth analysis of the Mediterranean energy landscape, covering a wide range of topics, from market trends and policy developments to technological advancements and sustainability challenges. The publication presents two distinct energy scenarios for the region: a business as usual conservative scenario and an alternative one, the net zero carbon scenario, which aims to achieve the net zero carbon target by 2050 for the region. We are confident that the data and insights provided will be of great value to the initiative. So we are, as I have said, happy to be here. We are deeply committed to actively participating in the various working groups and activities of the initiative. And so thank you again, Paolo, for this invitation. And thank you to all to be here today.
Thank you, Matteo. In addition, obviously, to the trilemma issues monitor, the contribution and analysis from the Secretariat, also your analysis starting from the Mediterranean Energy Perspective study will be crucial for the development of the initiative. So now we have set the scene, let's say. And as I said, the second release of the transition checklist will focus on specific deep dives. Today, thanking to the participation also of expert contributors, we will try to analyze some of them, starting with Mr. Furlan, Sandro, with an overview of what was made last year with the transition checklist, and then with the other expert contributor with some proposals from deep dives that then will be discussed in the rest of the meeting with all of you. So Sandro, please.
Thank you very much, Paolo, and thanks to you all for the opportunity to share such important achievement related to the transition checklist. We are still working to improve, to better understand the so complex reality that is represented by the Mediterranean countries on both sides of the Mediterranean. We all are familiar with the term transition checklist. Just to remind that this approach allows the WEC to consider and measure, I would say also value, because referring very often to the humanization of the energy transition is important also to speak about, not just to measure, but also to value the energy transition in this Mediterranean area. And this has been done according to a consistent, cooperative, and inclusive paradigm. These are all components of such not so easy, I would say, exercise, but is really necessary to work in such way if we really want to offer, to give to all the stakeholders a better vision of which is the situation, which are the critical situation and points that should be removed to boost the transition. And this analysis process, look at what have been done. I would say also the data can show us that a lot has been done already. Many countries started from very far in considering the transition. Others were more aligned to what the international organization asked at the conference of the parties along the years. And so how it has been done, this has been done in each country, and of course looking at the future opportunities and solution to achieve such goals. First of all, the pace of the actions and the achievement is different from one country to another. The contexts are very different. Many variables are totally different in terms of dimension and perspective also for the future. Not the last one is demography. Demography most of the time is forgotten, but it matters a lot every time we speak about energy, about environment and climate issue. At the same time, the transition strategies that already have been put in place are fixed in a wider process of the evolution. In other related sectors like transport and residentials that involve millions and millions of people, we should always have in mind that to improve industrial sector could be in a way much easier because we are speaking of a certain number of equipment or of technical instruments. But when we speak about transport and residential, we speak about millions of individuals. And it's not always easy to convince them to follow the stream in the right direction for many reasons. First of all, the wealth of the population and the distribution of the wealth in the population is not the same, of course. The security supply will be explained better by my colleague, but just to remember that the need to ensure the security of supply at the same time considering the carbon neutrality is the goal that we have to comply with the climate issue, renewable diffusion targets, and appeal for a comprehensive strategies with technology neutrality, of course, economic and social sustainability that are the natural complement for such endeavor. But when we speak about the security supply, we evoke the geopolitical constraints. And this is one of the major, if not the major obstacle due to the fact that context is an exogenous variable. It's not our single country control, not even Mediterranean countries. There are national, regional, international, outside the Mediterranean forces that are acting and interacting conflictually most of the time. So the geopolitical constraints are probably the most difficult to deal with, and they are part of the problem, but also part of the solution. Also because the geopolitical the security supply is a multi-phased variable. We have technical aspect, economic aspect, political, financial, that are all needed to be taken in consideration, and they are always under threat. The involvement of stakeholders and the regional cooperation will be necessary, of course, to mobilize private and public funding. But at the same time, the cooperation will help to reduce also the geopolitical pressure. That's why I evoke the geopolitical aspect. Is a key issue, is a key problem, but the cooperation could be one way to solve or to reduce at least the pressure. Let me also raise the aspect of innovation, because this also implies many other variables, should be also part of the financial framework to boost investments, of course. But this also opens the question to adapt the labor market, the labor force in the new reality. Many countries, and not only on the south part of the Mediterranean, even in the continental Europe, some countries have not requested educational degree to face the new technologies that day by day the markets are offering to improve our energy performances, polluting less, producing more. And this is important because it's a variable that requests investment, long-term investment and engagement, because we cannot allow that an important part of the population will be put aside from the evolvement, from the development of new technologies and new energy paradigms. This is something very important to remind and to have in mind if we really want to give a value to humanization of the energy transition. So it is a real pillar, the educational side. And this is also an answer for another pillar, the social acceptability, that can favor or block, or at least to make longer the evolution of the energy transition. Without social acceptance, we are not able to develop projects, new technologies that can really improve the speed of the transition. We also need clear, transparent regulation. There is a lot of debate about regulation, because European Union in particular is considered to rule too much and consider in comparison to other areas of the world, the US, especially in the new situation, but also in Asia and so on. But it's true that we need a clear, transparent regulation to favor investment environment, both in renewables and the decarbonization of hard-to-abate sector. Of course, technological neutrality should be part of this structure if we want to boost the development. It's clear that all I mentioned until now needs coordination of all these instruments, because it's not possible to achieve the goals if one pillar is going in a different direction comparison to the others, and the coordination appeals for international and national institutional cooperation, institution cooperation to finalize programs, projects in a consistent, inclusive framework, looking at differences existing in the reality to find a realistic solution. Sometimes we hear proposal to widespread, just to mention, hydrogen transport in Africa is not realistic until now, and this could be really misleading the effort that should allow this continent to develop as faster as possible, because there are a lot of human resources in this continent that can contribute heavily, importantly, to the success of the decarbonization of the continent economy, with the society being part and not put aside from such endeavor. To find a unique solution to solve problems will drive to failure. There is not a unique one solution. There are many solutions that can really contribute. That's why the effort made at the WEC for this evaluation is, I guess, an important contribution to go on in the efforts as we all are part of this agreement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandro. Thank you. You mentioned a lot of topics, so let's start zooming in, let's say. Valeria, please help us driving into a new topic.
I hope we'll help each other. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all again. The session I will address briefly. We'll attempt to frame in a non-exhaustive way, of course, because that would be impossible given the complexity of the topic, the interplay between the main macroeconomic indicators that are relevant for the region and the main drivers for the energy transition, with a particular view to the aspects of energy security. And we'll do so having in mind the fact that the energy security dimension has stretched a lot and has increased its own internal dimension precisely because of the energy transition. So together with the classical aspects of energy security that we can think of in terms of natural resources, hydrocarbons, mineral, water resources, let's add also meteorological resources, and new dimensions for energy security that we can look for in terms of manufacturing capacity for clean techs, access and availability of competencies, and again, resources in terms of critical raw materials. And of course, without making it a chicken and egg, is it a sound macroeconomic policy that caters for energy transition, or is it a sound energy policy that caters for a sound macroeconomic? That's why I talked about interplay. So the idea is to have a look quickly at the main macroeconomic indicators that can be relevant for energy security related aspects, and try to sketch some thoughts that can be further substantiated in the work ahead. So of course, macroeconomic reflections and dynamics have, GDP as sort of main central parameter. And by GDP, of course, we mean all those goods and services that can stimulate like domestic economic development. Some other aspects that can certainly be interesting also for some reflections that you will hear later on in this session concern employment and unemployment rates. And these dynamics, of course, are strictly related to some aspects that we have touched upon during the previous discussions that are related to the demographic trends. And this is relevant in particular for the Mediterranean region, where the figures are quite stunning. And also it can be related to the path of the technological shift And for this, one example for all can be the trends that we see in Europe with the consequences of the policy shift for the automotive sector. Here again, it's challenges and opportunities, like the mental prism we have adopted for our checklist. But also it's a stimulating indicator for future reflections with regard to cost of labor. For instance, some parts of the Mediterranean are, in perspective, also an interesting context for thinking, reshoring of some key manufacturing activities for the development and expansion of the clean tech manufacturing capacity. The big one, then next indicator, inflation. We all know how it can be affected by energy prices. Again, if energy security triggers exogenous shocks, that is certainly reflected quite directly on prices. And that's where, of course, there is a big room for exploring what kind of measures can best contain these trends, looking for tools and leverages precisely in the domain of energy security related policy. Interest rates are, of course, another indicator that can have a tremendous effect for both macroeconomic policies, can influence and can be influenced by energy security aspects. Here, because it has a double leverage on the level of investments, you can think of the huge and diverse domain of investment in energy, but also it can have repercussions on the level of consumption of goods, services, and here we can have one foot probably also in the field of energy efficiency. Then overall level of consumptions, of course, trigger, as you can conclude, other dynamics also for the economy at large. Another indicator that can be of broad reach is to be found in the balance of trade. And if we look at the latest developments on energy commodities, we have seen globalization of some. We can think of LNG. We can start envisaging a big potential for expansion on trades of trades for some other commodities, including new vectors and carriers. Can be hydrogen, can be ammonia, and the Mediterranean being like geographically at the crossroad of 3 continents has a huge potential for enriching the patterns of its balance of trade in the global context, both for its like promising economic outset and for the national resources that can be found in the region. Industrial production is of course another field where developments can affect energy security and where energy security related policies can have a boost or a trigger for macroeconomic developments. There again, the classical fields of the energy sector, hydrocarbon related, have of course a big role in the transition, but let's think also, as I said before, of new technologies, a new manufacturing capacity, and how this can contribute to the diversification of the economic structure and of the industrial structure in the region. With these indicators in mind, then there can be some further work to be done, some further chapters that can be developed. Of course, looking at the conditions that can enable investments catering for positive trends in the economic growth, and then in terms of GDP, but also in terms of development of the energy sector that can ensure robust profiles of energy security along and during the transition. Of course, we have a starting point in the region where we have a vast, say, heterogeneity in terms of distribution of resources, in terms of level of GDP, and this is a starting point. The gaps are north-south. We saw them in the previous sessions and through the outlooks that were presented with numbers at hand. So, I mean, not the case here to go again through numbers and figures, but we have a lot of material to work on. And perhaps I will stop here just for the sake of time. Again, this was not meant to be an exhaustive framing of the problem, because it has a multidimensional nature. It's complex, but probably flagging already some key indicators and some key elements. It's probably a good first step. So thank you all, and looking forward to continuing the discussion.
Thank you, Valeria. For sure, we will have the opportunity to continue deepening these topics. And as I said, in the coming months, we will organize other meetings dedicated to several topics, specific topics. So coming to you, Igor, from energy security to technology roadmaps, please help us.
I mean, helping, I can give you just some fields, considering the 14 minutes that we have at our disposals, and also, as you anticipated, I mean, we will need some deep dives in all these pillars in order to also have the chance to confront with each other, and that's the value added of platforms like this. Just talking about transition pathways, I think like it's very important to set a few premises. Already Sandro and Valeria started to anticipate some of them. Sandro was referring to the importance of demography. I mean, demography matters. I mean, different geographies have different needs and also different priorities. Valeria was referring to the vast heterogeneity of the GDP and the natural resources. I mean, with the help of God and also with the help of competitive energy supplies, let's say the analysis that also the friends of WEC are developing are showing a growing GDP in the next few decades, but we do have like disparities between the growth population. I mean, the North is looking at a descending trend in matters of population, while there's going to be a skyrocketing, we can say, trend of population in the south shore of the Mediterranean, and this reflects to different levels of energy demands. And going back to what Valeria was saying, this affects in a very important way the availability of the sources, renewables or not. But in these kind of conversations, we need to remember that these decarbonization pathways will need to be coupled with two major trends. One, we already said it, the rise of demand that is undeniable. On the other side, we have let's say, the major need of defending the competitivity of our economies. Because if one of the main objectives it is to decarbonize our economy, we need to make sure that in the next decades we will have something to defend and something to decarbonize. So we need to make sure that there is a just transition that preserves like an economic growth in both sides of the Mediterranean, of course. In this regard, for example, also the former president Draghi, in his report on the future of European competitiveness, emphasized that a technological neutral approach appears to be the most effective way to accelerate the decarbonization efficiently. And in this sense, also the new energy commissioner reaffirmed his commitment to the technological neutrality in the next months to come. We do know, we are all aware of how important is to start this change and this decarbonization process right now, and especially in this region. I mean, we are all aware in the IPCC Mediterranean Assessment Report has defined the region as a climate hotspot, where the climate is changing faster than in other regions. The estimates talk about almost half of a grade Celsius more than the global average. So talking about technological neutrality and the pathways that we have ahead, just like really shortly, the main pillar, of course, will be the development of the renewable energy sources. PV is globally leading the way in terms of development together with wind. But as we stated at the beginning, there are different needs, and for different needs, there are different solutions. In the South Shore, where we have, like, for example, vaster availability of space, there are also other solutions. In Europe, the major PV is let's say is on the roofs, and also on other utility scales is a bit more complicated. Instead, in the South Shore, there is also the possibility of solar concentration. If the space is a problem, technology helps us with the agrivoltaic solutions. But we also need to balance this development of the renewable energy sources with the intermittency of the renewable energy sources. So we'll also need to work on LDES, the long duration energy storage, both with batteries or also with hydro pumping solutions where applicable, maybe more in the North Shore. But let's say the two pillars are phase out of coal, that is the most emitting one, and the development of the renewable energy sources. But for the competitivity and the security of supply, of course, we will need to rely on the traditional fuels for the base load, namely natural gas can be one of the solutions, coupled with the CCS. We have also like a revival of new forms of nuclear that would save let's say investments and money on the renew of the grid in order to allocate all this new capacity. Another great contribution can come from H2, from both via pipe and both via terminals of ammonia. But there is not only energy generation, there is energy efficiency, transport, both at light, so the electric one, both also heavy duty, maritime. Ran out of time, so please, Paolo, organize a deep dive on this, so I can just like share a bit more of my passion with you.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you for helping us in exploring different option that we have from a technology point of view, and also for empower and transition in the region. And for sure we will organize moments and workshop and debate occasion in order to deepen different options we are presenting today. So coming to you, Nicolò, we are touching another important issue that was already mentioned by your colleagues, that is education and skills. That is another essential pillar in driving energy transition, not only in the Mediterranean, but now the focus today is is on that. So please.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you to WEC Italy, thanks to WEC Global, and of course to OMEC for inviting me, for being here. I'm the last joining the group, first of all, and I am also the last in the speaking, and we have a really few minutes to try to express what we would like to deep dive. So I think that I'll throw a few snapshots of what are we going to analyze in the deep dive, and why. As you said already, something has been said by Sandro in particular and by Valeria, and it confirms that somehow the proposal we had joining the group very recently was quite good and straightforward. So education and skills as a creation as a catalyst for regional energy transformation is very important. Sandro mentioned innovation, long-term investment in innovation, the educational side, the labor market, and also the social acceptance. Everything is fundamental to make the energy transition in the region feasible. Renewables are there. We perfectly know that Africa in general, the Middle East, North African region in particular, and the Med in particular, are quite blessed with new renewables like wind and sun. So this is not a big problem when it comes to the overall capacity of the region in order to potentially put in place this capacity. But there's something that, of course, is missing. And in fact, indeed, our deep dive is particularly focusing on the capacity, on the education and the skills that are necessary to deploy this energy transition, to make it possible, to make it valuable also for the southern part of the region, not just to become a transition functional to the development of the northern shore of the region. And in this sense, we think that some data that I've already mentioned, but are very important, the one on GDP in particular, but of course also the one related to demography. By 2050, 2/3 of the Mediterranean population will be based in the southern part of the Mediterranean. Data related to North African unemployment rate are quite impressive. We still have 22% of people and young people unemployed in the region, which is double the global average. If we look at the women employment, another question of social acceptability, it goes to 34%, which is quite impressive. And an important data which I found on ILO last assessment about youth involved in the labor market in the North Africa is the non-employed, not in education, employment or training data and rate in North Africa is 31%, with women accounting for 44% of in this condition, which is very high. So the message here is to be very short. Of course, we can bring the NL experience, but in general, we know that there is an abundance of renewable energy resources, and we think that much of the collaboration, not only, but much of the collaboration has to be focused on how the skills, how the professional capacity to deploy this energy transition, to deploy these resources should be put at disposal of the region in order to advance energy transition. This is for us very important. This is looking more from an Italian perspective. It's also one of the key pillars of the Mattei plan for Africa, where education plays a fundamental role. And looking at the importance of skilled labor to drive the energy transition, and of course the training needed and the investment, the long-term investment needed, like Sandro mentioned before, we think that looking at this at the energy transition from this perspective, and looking at the necessary cooperation in this domain, is something fundamental from an institutional point of view, is fundamental from a private sector point of view, and at the end is something that ends up with greater social commitment on the one hand, social acceptance on the other, and basically the only solution for really achieving the transition in a region which is complex, which is diversified, but that has all the characteristics that we consider important to make this possible. I quit here. I've been super fast. Sorry for running on this. I wanted to try to conclude on time, but of course we will have in the next few months a great opportunity to discuss more in depth how these education pathways, these creation skill pathways should be developed, which can be the focus, and how to strengthen this also the multilateral and bilateral collaboration in this domain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicola, also for non mi sento.
Sì,
Okay,
sì.
okay. Also for the synthesis, of course, education is can you hear me? Maybe some problem connection. Okay, education is a fundamental pillar to put on the ground all the solution we try to explore briefly today. We are quite close to the end of our webinar, but I would like to quickly open the floor to several questions if there are. Anticipating you that maybe we are thinking to organize a first webinar dedicated to a specific deep dive in March. It will be online, and we will announce the topic shortly. That probably will be on the nexus of energy technology and trade in the region. And in the meantime, we will use the same method that we had last year for the creation of the checklist. Collecting your inputs using a standard format, a standard form that can help us having your inputs in order to build the discussion that will be guided by key actors in the region regarding the topic. So if there are any questions, any topics or additional topics you would like to put on the floor, please raise your hands and we can give you the floor before. Please, Marilyn.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, all of you, for your presentation. It was very interesting. For France, we confirm, of course, that we fully support this initiative, and some of our members are very keen to be more involved. And I think if it is possible, some of them will be very interested to participate to the deep dive and the discussion. Not a few, but a couple of them who are probably experts of some topics. So if it is possible, I will be more than happy to bring them in the discussion, because they all believe and really believe that this region is very important for us, for all of us, and that kind of dialogue is key. And of course, enlarging it to all the Mediterranean countries will be very, very important. And my other question is about the physical meeting, the in-person meeting planned in 25. Have you an idea of the moment it may happen? Will it be connected to the European meeting, or it's not linked and you will find another moment to organize it?
Thank you, Marilyn. Of course, another value of the initiative would be the national networks. Having involved in the debates your associates, the realities that are within France, and then can bring on the table best practices and help us in deep diving different teams will be precious, and I extend the invite to involve the national networks to all the participants, of course. Regarding the second question about the in-person meeting, in-presence meeting, the series of webinars, of meetings will be, we are imaging this series to be organized by in-person and virtual meeting both. So I think that we will have the occasion to organize it after in May or June, the first one, let's say, because I mentioned the one we are organizing in March, and why not connecting it with the meeting of the regional meeting WEC is organizing. I'm looking at Masha. I know that in June, if I don't remember wrong, in the Turkish National Committee is organizing an in-person meeting.
Let's discuss it, Paolo, separately.
Yes.
How to fit it into the agenda, of course.
Yes, of course. And but we are, as the last year, we have in the calendar several appointments regarding Mediterranean, and we can do like the last year and have our meetings in conjunction to this gathering. So we will keep updated you on that. And thank you for your question, Marilyn. Anna, please.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank for all the presentations. I would like also to say that Portugal is here well represented in this meeting. I believe that here are 4 members of our national committee, so you can count on us to work in several topics. Furthermore, I would like to highlight the importance of interconnections in energy secure. Is one of the topics that I believe it's very, very important to highlight, and I believe that we do not highlight this topic. So just a final remark to acknowledge everyone that is here and working together for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for addressing these other topics. I do not see any other hands, and I don't want to go much further to the time we schedule for these calls. For this call, as I said, I will come back to all of you with additional information about the continuing of the initiative, starting from the next webinar, and it will be precious to have your contribution for the following of the activity. So thank you again, and obviously I'm at your disposal for direct coordination if needed, like the one we will have with Masha. So thank you again, and thank you all of you for the participation and precious contribution, and be posted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Have a good day.
Sale nada.